he attracted the claws or the venom of the regime as forces of law and order got him arrested. And thank God to reputable men and women of the law like Barrister Akere Muna, who came and bailed him or intervened in the whole situation. So in all of this, what do you have to say? Do you think this goes a long way to buttress the fact that there is freedom of speech as it is clamored by our constitution in Cameroon, but the freedom after speech is not quite guaranteed?
Well, maybe in Cameroon, when we say there's freedom of speech, I'll just say that is just a scam, because actually, if there was freedom of speech was really the way we think about, the country could have had some changes, and we could have had see some, people coming out, even in the level of their parliament, and some people in government and authority to say what they want to say or what they think about our nation. I don't think there's freedom of speech, and there's a scam that goes around when the regime in power take it as a slogan to say youths are the leader of tomorrow. If youths are the leader of tomorrow, they have to speak out today, because they have to speak out their mind, they have to speak out what they think, and they have to speak what they feel that they don't want now. And if the government cannot give the opportunity for them to stand on what they feel and believe on what they think the country can become tomorrow and what they don't agree now, then truly that slogan is a scam, and truly indeed is a scam. And we believe that this country, the government, is just that the influencer that was taken behind bars, it's just a tip of an iceberg to show that the youth, they really want a change. They want this country, they want to take it by the bull. Even the other people want it or not, there's a change coming, serious one. That serious change is about to happen in this country. And the youth, we charge them because it's their responsibility. This country, I used to say that it was not bought by the people in regime in power. And if they feel that they have bought this country for somewhere, let them show the receipt. So let us see how we can endorse it and see who sold in this country and why are they running the country, that all of us belong in this country. All of us have the responsibility to make the country to become what it's supposed to become. Why are they deciding to be looking? I can't remember before I entered the studio, maybe I saw a video that I think they were showing, is it 2000 or 2018 sometime, when I think that guy is a guy of Konak or South, that they cash him with a little big bag of money, millions. What did they do with the money? Did they use it to tell our roads? Did they give us, did they tell the youths that this is the money and we are using to empower the youth, we are using to create jobs, we are using to, what did they tell us? It means that the democracy that they're talking about in this country, there's nothing like democracy, and there's nothing like youths are the leader of tomorrow. All those slogans are scam. To scam the youth or to make the youth that they have a future, whereby the other people are seizing the future by power, by threat, by anger from the youth. Because if a youth have to voice his voice that we want the youth to stand and denounce the regime in power, it's not news, because all the social media people that are talking, since Biden withdrew from the ticket of standing as a president, the whole world is looking at phobia, that it's time for him also to withdraw. And we have to set a pace for the youth. We have to set a pace. We have to tell them now this is not a time for us to create a network in parties politics and want to leave up people there and then leave the youth as their mediator or their advocate, to be climbing all around and be talking about the regime in power, they are this, they are that, or whatsoever. This is the time to allow the youth to do what is right to build this nation. This is the time.
Now, talking about allowing the youth to have the freedom to be expressive and doing what is right, does it go to say that it shouldn't be censored? Does it go to say that the youth can act ultra-virus just in a bit because they think that they are doing what is right? Do you think there should be a balance at some point, because we are living in a country that is ruled by law?
Yes, it needs to be censored. We are not refusing that you need to censor, but on what parameters are you censoring the youth? On what they are saying? That's the problem. Because it's not that you to say, I want to censor them. What are the parameters you put in place? We say there's freedom of speech. What he says is right, because he's a voter. He votes the person in power. Maybe he was one of the person who voted President Pobia in power. And today, he feels that he have about you in power. And now he's raising his voice that, please, Pa, it's time for you to sit down, calm down. And that's so clear that you told us that you are the leader of tomorrow. Want to implement it now. So if they are, it's not something that you need to say, censors. Censors what? If you want to say freedom of speech, it means that what the person is saying, he sees a need for that. And if a good country, a good leader, as a leader, when you have to have critics, both positive critics and negative critics. And those critics are there not to destroy you, but to make you strong. For example, you see in American, political or presidential campaign that's going on. You see sometimes Biden will even talk a slant and even make a slant insult to Trump. Trump will also do that. Is politicking. That is freedom of speech. You are not if it is wrong, if it is not right, then because the young man cannot say so when there's not the need for that, or when there's not a problem. There's something that the women have seen that they believe that this is time for change. So if the authority they are doing that, it means they are trying to quiet down or to suppress the youth not to speak out, and which is also a law, international law, that everybody have freedom of speech. The first international law is so that this a freedom of all human beings have right to vote whatever they feel is right or wrong. And if we say want to censor, what did he say? That you need to censor. He told me, say, the president of the republic has jailed for long. It's time for him to give way for the young people who are there.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we are going to get into this break where we are going to be watching the excerpt of the young TikToker, what he said that landed the young Junior Gombe into the hands of the SED in Douala. If Claudine is ready, then I think the viewers are too.
En 2025, nous avons ce qu'on appelle les élections présidentielles. Les prochaines élections présidentielles en 2025 au Cameroun. C'est en 2025, dans quelques mois. Je sais que nombreux parmi vous ne sont pas encore inscrits sur les listes électorales. Mais ce n'est pas grave, on va s'inscrire. Moi, je me suis déjà inscrit. Mais je sais que même si on s'inscrit des millions de jeunes sur les listes électorales, le RDPC est d'abord champion en vol, champion en tout cas des élections. Donc ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Même si on s'inscrit massivement, ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Alors la résolution que nous on a prise en 2025, là, soit on gagne, soit on gâte tout. On n'a plus rien à négocier avec le RDPC. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. On meurt. On n'a plus peur de la mort. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. Que de rester sur le règne du RDPC. C'est fini comme ça. On ne négocie plus rien avec vous. On sait que quand on parle comme ça, vous envoyez nos grands frères qui sont là pour nous envoyer. Eux-mêmes, les là, ils ne voient pas du bien. Ça ne donne pas suite. Alors bon, en 2025, nous avons ce qu'on appelle les élections présidentielles. Les prochaines élections présidentielles en 2025 au Cameroun. C'est en 2025, dans quelques mois. Je sais que nombreux parmi vous ne sont pas encore inscrits sur les listes électorales. Mais ce n'est pas grave, on va s'inscrire. Moi, je me suis déjà inscrit. Mais je sais que même si on s'inscrit des millions de jeunes sur les listes électorales, le RDPC est d'abord champion en vol, champion en tout cas des élections. Donc ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Même si on s'inscrit massivement, ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Alors la résolution que nous on a prise en 2025, là, soit on gagne, soit on gâte tout. On n'a plus rien à négocier avec le RDPC. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. On meurt. On n'a plus peur de la mort. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. Que de rester sur le règne du RDPC. C'est fini comme ça. On ne négocie plus rien avec vous. On sait que quand on parle comme ça, vous envoyez nos grands frères qui sont là pour nous envoyer. Eux-mêmes, les là, ils ne voient pas du bien. Ça ne donne pas suite. Alors bon, en 2025, nous avons ce qu'on appelle les élections présidentielles. Les prochaines élections présidentielles en 2025 au Cameroun. C'est en 2025, dans quelques mois. Je sais que nombreux parmi vous ne sont pas encore inscrits sur les listes électorales. Mais ce n'est pas grave, on va s'inscrire. Moi, je me suis déjà inscrit. Mais je sais que même si on s'inscrit des millions de jeunes sur les listes électorales, le RDPC est d'abord champion en vol, champion en tout cas des élections. Donc ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Même si on s'inscrit massivement, ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Alors la résolution que nous on a prise en 2025, là, soit on gagne, soit on gâte tout. On n'a plus rien à négocier avec le RDPC. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. On meurt. On n'a plus peur de la mort. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. Que de rester sur le règne du RDPC. C'est fini comme ça. On ne négocie plus rien avec vous. On sait que quand on parle comme ça, vous envoyez nos grands frères qui sont là pour nous envoyer. Eux-mêmes, les là, ils ne voient pas du bien. Ça ne donne pas suite. Alors bon, en 2025, nous avons ce qu'on appelle les élections présidentielles. Les prochaines élections présidentielles en 2025 au Cameroun. C'est en 2025, dans quelques mois. Je sais que nombreux parmi vous ne sont pas encore inscrits sur les listes électorales. Mais ce n'est pas grave, on va s'inscrire. Moi, je me suis déjà inscrit. Mais je sais que même si on s'inscrit des millions de jeunes sur les listes électorales, le RDPC est d'abord champion en vol, champion en tout cas des élections. Donc ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Même si on s'inscrit massivement, ils vont tout faire pour gagner. Alors la résolution que nous on a prise en 2025, là, soit on gagne, soit on gâte tout. On n'a plus rien à négocier avec le RDPC. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. On meurt. On n'a plus peur de la mort. Mieux encore, vous nous tuez. Que de rester sur le règne du RDPC. C'est fini comme ça. On ne négocie plus rien avec vous. On sait que quand on parle comme ça, vous envoyez nos grands frères qui sont là pour nous envoyer. Eux-mêmes, les là, ils ne voient pas du bien. Ça ne donne pas suite. Alors bon, en 2025, nous avons ce qu'on appelle les élections présidentielles. Les prochaines élections présidentielles en 2025 au Cameroun. C'est en 2025, dans quelques mois. Je sais que nombreux parmi vous ne sont même pas encore inscrits sur les listes électorales. Mais c'est pas grave, on va s'inscrire. Moi, je me suis déjà inscrit. Mais je sais que même si on s'inscrit des millions de jeunes sur les listes.
Welcome back to the studio, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, if you are just joining the program, then we are looking at the burning topic that has been on our social media spaces, wherein the 23-year-old hairdresser and TikToker, social media influencer, Junior Gumbe, who was arrested and has been freed by a renowned lawyer, Barrister Akere Muna, has gained his freedom. And of course, this has sparked a lot of condemnation. And the story has been on everybody's lip, and we are here on Matters to debate on the stakes and the issues at hand. Mr. Miracle, you are one of the people who have actually traced this news. I remember this morning when we were speaking, you told me you have actually been on this matter for quite a while. Maybe because you are a youth yourself or because you are on the way becoming an ex-choir. But if we talk about freedom of speech, as somebody who has trailed the videos that has been peddling social media space, do you think the punishment that was meted or the arrest is equivalent to the nature of the speech that the young 23-year-old gave in the open? Do you think that it's on the same pedestal, or it was way too crude for him?
Thank you very much, Mabel. It's a very sensitive case, and I want to start by saying that we are all slaves to the law. We are all slaves to the law, and everybody is subject to the law. And looking at the case, it is true. Freedom of expression, freedom of opinion is fundamental, is a sacrosanct right. As enshrined in international conventions like the International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights, International Covenant for Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, both of 1966, ratified by Cameroon, recognized by the preamble of the Constitution, and Article 65 makes the Constitution part and parcel of the Constitution of Cameroon. Based on that, we will all agree that freedom of opinion, freedom of expression is not a negotiable right. But does it mean that since it is not a negotiable right, we should abuse it? The answer is a big no. And this leads to the arrest. And asking or finding out whether the arrest or the nature of the arrest was commensurate to the degree or to the output of Junior, I would say to a great extent, no, it was not commensurate. Because he was subjected to the military tribunal. Of course, we agree that he is above 18, meaning he is not a minor, and the military tribunal has jurisdiction to actually try him. But we are aware that the military tribunal is a tribunal sui generis that is set up to try offenses that are specific. If you read Article 9 of the 2017 law, it specifies, it lays down offenses that can be brought under the jurisdiction of the military tribunal. And if Junior has not yet been charged, I think bringing him to the military tribunal is a total sabotage. It was not commensurate, and I think that, of course, it's important to recognize the right to opinion. It's important to recognize the right to opinion, but I think it is necessary also for it to be regulated.
Now, talking about freedom of speech, we have had debate programs like this where we have personalities who are die-hard political analysts come on a podium like this and they spew hard truth. They hit the nail so hard against the head of the government, and nothing, and they walk out of of the media houses free. We have had people and print houses which has written against the government and they leave free.
True.
And we have had a lot of people, social media influencers, who take to their social media handles and they talk against the government, the incumbent regime, and nothing is heard of them or nothing is done to them. So what is peculiar about the case of Junior Ngumbe that was made so much as a case study or a case in point?
Thank you very much, Mabel. Let me start by saying that it is true there are many who have walked free after expressing their thoughts and opinion, but I must insist that the civic space in this country is still very volatile. It's still very volatile, and we must understand context, and we must understand the timing in which this expression is coming. I think if it were made 5 years ago, there was nothing serious. If you have been following the political trend, you have been following the atmosphere, if you have been understanding how things are shifting politically speaking in this country, and you will bear with me that the atmosphere is already tense. It is true we are not yet in 2025, but mind you,
pre-elections fever.
Yes, it's already there. And we can see this with so many decisions being taken by the government, that there's already a lot of panic, there's a lot of fear in the atmosphere, and they are doing everything. We can see the situation in Yaoundé where an SDO took a decision, and many people came out to contradict that. All of that are tilting towards ensuring that 2025 is put under check, to ensure that people don't go overboard. So the atmosphere is already tense. And Junior coming out to make such a statement, listening to the wordings of the statement, we just analyze that. You realize that some words were used that actually, if you are critical about analyzing what he said, you realize that there was some form of propaganda and there was some form of incitement. And of course, the government cannot just fold his arms, knowing that he is a youth, and a vast majority of the population of this country is made up of youths, and the population that is vigorous, that is strong, that can take to the streets are youths.
And on the social media.
And on the social media, if this was I'm sure in 2011, social media was not as popularized as it is today. Even in 2018, it was not as popularized as it is today. But today, in 2024, almost every youth, almost everybody is on social media. Almost everybody is connected. Make a statement now, in less than 1 minute, is everywhere. So I am not surprised that the government had to act that way, because the atmosphere is already tense. And based on the fact that Junior is a youth, and he is calling not on the old people.
Now, you saying that you are not surprised that the government acted that way. Does it come to say that it suffices for the government to have acted that way towards a youth, and in a state where youth are struggling to be immersed in the political chessboard, and youth are encouraged to voice out their opinion to see how the status quo could be changed? So do you think it suffices to say you are not surprised? Does it mean for every Tom, Dick and Harry who comes up on the social media space or the media space to voice out their differences or their different perspectives, they should be remanded to by the SED?
No, that's not what the context within which I said I am not surprised is the fact that we are moving very close to the elections. And mind you, the next person who will step out and make similar, expressions, you will not be surprised that will be picked up. Why? Because we are in an environment, and we are in a season, and we are in a time where the atmosphere is already very, very hot. I am not saying that the government should pick up anybody who attempts to make a statement or express his ideas. Of course, everybody has the right to their opinion. Everybody has the right to express what they feel and what they think. And of course, the government is also there to ensure, at times we may just sound, the government is bad. The government is also protecting something. And I think that if one of the panelists here were in the government, they would not act otherwise. Because the government is also, they will not just sit down and, watch the youth rise and then take over the streets and they are off the way.
I think that it is a little bit disguised when you say the government is protecting something. I'll be back to you again for you to actually lay the cards on the table more visibly. Over to you, Dr. Christian, before I get to introduce the very big voice and next voice that we have on the panel that is going to make the debate even hotter and very interesting. Worthy of note is that in as much as it is a debate program, but the ultimate interest of my panelists is to educate young Cameroonians and even the old watchers so that they can take back something and be well schooled. Dr. Christian, you have been one of those people who have categorically stated your difference and applauded or lauded the government in places where it is worth commending. And to have a member on the panel say that this is going to be like a game changer for those who are coming, and because they should not, or every youth should be alert, because we are living in a time wherein it's a pre-election season and the atmosphere is a little bit thick and very tense. Now, this is a case of Junior Ngumbe who has been remanded. Do you think it's going to act as a game changer for every other person to take to their guard and will not have the liver or the balls, the God to be able to pick loopholes and categorically bring it to the face of the government through weapons or mediums like the media and every other avenue that we have?
There are a lot of things that we have to see in this matter. The government is a failed regime. We have to admit that. The government has failed in all its actions in every domain. Let me put it that way. The government have failed to bring the youth closer to the system. They have regretted the youth. Most of the youth have regretted them behind. And the government now doesn't know how to manage the space of the youth. If you look at the wave in Africa, maybe you discover that the youth are so excited. When they look at Ibrahim Traoré, the move he's doing in Burkina Faso, one guy was up to him and said, Burkina Faso, I see the way development is taking place in Burkina Faso, new technologies are coming up on this one. Everyone's excited. Africa is coming to a boom, to a change. There's a paradigm shift from the West to Africa. And Africa is the focal point in the world now, where everybody wants to see, look at Africa. Look at Niger. Niger, they are growing. Burkina Faso, they are moving. And the other countries, they are moving. And who wants the own country to be behind? So the youth are also curious. They want to see they want to see a change in their country. They are focused to see that change. They don't want something that is not visible. They want a visible change that they can place on and say, truly, there's a change in this nation. They don't want to sit behind. That's why you see a brave guy like that one can go to social media to cry that these are things that happen in our country. We need change. The problem we have in this country is that our regime in place, they have done a lot of how can I put it, errors in the course of governing the people. That in any move now they feel threatened. Any move. And you tell the people, you see, they used to threaten, you see a Zio come out to threaten people that if you go on the street, they will excommunicate or expel you. Those are people that used to go to behind bars. How many government officials are going behind bars for using words that, does not really reflect our nation? Or move a word of threat in the public. They have done that, many of them. Ministers have done that. How many of them have been behind the law, before the law? Those are exemplars. That is supposed to show example for the youth. And if they don't, it will compel the youth to come out from the cocoons and to spare out their heads to speak the truth. And they will speak with great eyes before the government. And what the government is trying to do, there are many youths coming up more than that young guy. There are many of them still on the pipeline. Many brave guys are still on the pipeline. And until the government decide that we want to be intentional to bring change, we want to be intentional, not push a slogan to say that youth are the leader of tomorrow, but visibly see youth acting, not acting under, psychological, prisons, but actually as a youth, taking responsibility in the particular office like a director, giving all the powers, the authority, and the laws for him or he or she to execute what he thinks he can for his own talent and gifting that he or she have and knowledge. Not people being in the office, but being manipulated and controlled in other offices in the name of leaders. That's the problem we have there. And that's why you see some youths that are coming up and they cannot perform because it's like what they was used to say, my hands are tight. Because there are people in front of them, other people instructing them what to do, and when they want to go beyond that, obviously a lot of people in government offices having this crisis.
Now, but when we say the youth are leaders of tomorrow, does it mean the youth should be able to garner the courage to say whatever they want to say, even if it is an aspect of incitement?
It is not, we say that they are inciting. You know, when you give birth to a child, and you promise that child that, oh, maybe you are such a beautiful child, and I'm working hard to make sure that you enjoy all this wealth that I put before you, right? And maybe knows that this is my right, right? But their fathers are already telling you that this is your wealth, you enjoy it, and you see them squaring the world before you. One time you cry foul. So these youth are crying foul because it's a scam. They're scamming them mentally that we are youth of tomorrow, but we cannot see visibly that we are acting in this same government structure as youth to make sure that we contribute in nation building. So we are like asking ourselves question, truly are we youth? So if they are not in action, in actual fact, or they're not be committed to the system, they must find another place to cry foul. So that's why they are crying foul elsewhere. You can't remember when you see the youth, I think it was Belgium, Belgium or France, that they used storm because they thought that there was electoral malpracticing, and they used storm. Everybody want to change. Everybody want a change, and the people are so curious for this change are the youth. And you cannot hold them down by any means. You cannot put them down under pressure or under force to weigh them down. You cannot close them out because the enemies will speak. They are so excited to see change come. Okay. And they must give them the opportunity to make sure that if you want to put them behind bars, you hear what that young guy says, we die, we die. There are many of them coming that we die, we perish.
Okay.
And if they come to that position, even the military that they are using to quell down the youth, they'll discover that their brother and the sister are already there, and they have nothing to do than to toe the line.
Okay, than to toe the line. Ladies and gentlemen, a very popular voice has joined us on the panel. Pope Bertrand is here to give his own little sense as far as the program is concerned. The young engineer and die-hard political enthusiast is going to be spewing his own knowledge as far as this topic is concerned. You're very much welcome.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Thank you, co-panelists. Of course, a very vibrating topic, and I am here to add my voice to the fellow panelists. Well, JVRs, what I have to say is, the truth does not have double DNA. The truth has just one DNA. And thereby going to say that, you see, the wind of change is blowing from all directions, especially in Central Africa. I would not like to incite talking about Adama Traore, that's from a military takeover. We are not into that in Africa, we are not into that in Cameroon, we are not into this lovely country. But we are going to take over through the voting process. And of course, that Junior make a statement that probably some say was stated, and we also have to encourage him, because we have used this platform and similar platforms to call on the youth and rather the old to turn up for elections registration. And of course, 2025 will be the football jamboree, the election jamboree. Now, Mabel, I want to remind you, the American phrase of liberation, it states that for all are born uniquely and they are endowed by their creator, that upon this institution were stated to govern the people, and that when institution fail, it is the responsibility of the people to stand up and challenge this institution and bring them to book. And that's why I'm using the case of Kenya and the case of Nigeria, because they voted in their government, and like in the case of Kenya, when the government started failing, the youth stood up, and the president came time without number to tender his apology and to rectify things, and the youth have already taken their stance. And the similar thing is going on in Nigeria. You see, this is not violating or inciting hate during an election process. The young man simply said, let's come out until when elections go other way, before he went to where he went, and where probably that is where we all said that he spoke probably out of anger, or probably out of excitement. But that notwithstanding, you see, what is killing us is what we have taken as our form of governance, which is democracy. Some people do understand it perfectly, while others do not. You see, democracy is a soft, tolerant governance system. But in Cameroon, some people feel like they are more Cameroonians than others, and that is why when you see a government official, some of them feel that they are there to rule the rules, but they are there to execute the rules. You see a government official threatening you, going against the constitution of this country to tell you that you'll be excommunicated or you'll be thrown out of a city like Yaoundé. And he was not brought to book, he was not cautioned. And then you see a young man, probably because you don't know the energy he has behind him, you feel that you can intimidate him. Gone are those days. Let me also tell you, maybe this 2025 election that is coming, it's an election to the gate process of Cameroon. Remember the president, he said, promised us 2035. And we, the youth, let me tell you what probably the old don't understand about social media. Social media is a war zone on its own. You see Nigeria attacking Cameroonians. We are participating in the building of our country. Cameroonian youth are also gearing because they stand by the statement of the head of state that 2035 is the year of the
Great ambition.
Great ambition. So, and this is 2025 is 10 years into 2035. And if we give the wrong person this mantle of 7 years, will always be around 2032. So you see that the youth are also holding the powers that be by their own statement, because this is the stage, this is the time to start preparing for that 2025, and that the youth have stood by the words that were promised to them by their own father in governance. And it is time, like I earlier said, that if they find out by their stethoscopes that the institution are failing, it is a time for the youth to stand up and question this institution. So for now, until I come back, I'll have more to contribute.
Yeah, you are one of those people, doing your very first outing here, talking about the youth, and of course, it is very true that the youth have a place in the electoral process and all of that, and since the Cameroonian population is massively constituted by the youth, do you think that even while we advocate for international or for freedom of speech by international conventions, do you think that at a certain point there should be a speech censor? Because at a certain point there is a thin line between going overboard and acting quite insightful.
You see, it's like, I give you two examples. You see, when you hear somebody say corruption, when corruption does not favor you, it becomes corruption. But when it favors you, it's no longer corruption. So in this political arena, there are opposition party and there's a leading government. Mm-hmm. So when a statement is being made like that, that does not favor one of the party, that's where one person would term it hate, incitement. But to me, if I look at what that young man said, he made some utterances that incite hate, but that will only be after the proclamation of the results. That if election as an institution, if ELECAM as an institution stand up to the value which it stands to protect, and that the wind of change definitely comes and is accepted genuinely, he will not get to the last point. Because if you follow, just like my brother said here, you see, if we look at the case as an analyst, we have to take the first step before the last step. And if the first 10 steps turn out well, it will not necessarily go to the 11, 12, maybe probably to the 20th.
Let us look at the timing. You are one of those people who talked about the timing, and we are living pre-electoral season, and of course, during such era, there is a lot of the adrenaline is high and all of that. While the moment could be euphoric, there's a lot of cacophony as well, and the air is thick in anticipation, and anything could act as an influence.
True.
Talking about the timing, do you think that government is bowing to pressure because they are hatching a disguised motive against the 2025 upcoming elections?
Wow, that's a very tricky question, I must say, Mabel. Yeah, I want to say that, of course, we have well settled on the fact that, of course, everybody can feel the atmosphere. If you are keen, you will feel that the atmosphere is tense, as we already stated. Mm-hmm. And every government during this period will be shaky. Mm-hmm. No matter how strong a government is. Once elections are approaching, nobody is sure of what can happen. Remember, this is 7 years. Between 2018 and now, there are a lot of promises that were made, and people have been expecting a lot to change. But between 2018 and now, a lot of aspirations have been lost. And so, people's expectations are high, and people are demanding more. And of course, the government is not sure whether or not the people still have their trust. Because if you are sincere as a politician, at the end of your mandate, you should be able to evaluate yourself. This is 7 years. What have I been able to do? What have I been able to achieve? Go back to your manifesto. These were the list of things you said you were going to do. Have you been able to achieve them? And if you are sincere enough, and every human being who has a conscience, and you are sure, or you are not sure that you have been able to do that which you promised, you must be afraid. You must be afraid you will be afraid even of a rat, Mabel. Talk less of 23 years old junior. If you are not sure that you have been able to gain the trust, because politics is all about trust. It's all about gaining the trust of the people. Then getting to your answer, I think that the government truly is under pressure. Mm-hmm. Truly speaking, the government, if you see the moves they are taking, it speaks for itself that the government is under pressure.
Now, in all of this, we may be eager to find out if 2024 is going to be a safe haven, because these moves orchestrated by government by remanding young Cameroonians who have the lever to stand up and push an agenda towards amassing votes and garnering the courage to look at Elekam eyeballs to eyeballs, to tell them of the illicit affairs that they have been doing over time. Now, do you think 2024 is going to be a safe haven for other young Cameroonians who may want to pick out some of the lapses, some of the loops in the government, in the electoral procedures and processes, and to face them, to challenge them? Do you think that most of the youth are going to go undercovers, or they are going to have the courage to face the media and to spew their real intentions?
I think the case of Junior is just an indication. Junior is just one out of the thousands and millions of youths we have in this country that have been, touched, that have been going through a lot of, sufferings and pains, and many of them have not been able to muster the courage like Junior to come out and say that, no, this has to stop. He's just one of them. I must say that there are thousands of youths who have been hurt, who are victims of the economic hardship that this country is presently going through. And I'm sure that most of them need the slightest opportunity to express their disappointment, to express their disgust, to express how much sad they feel about where Cameroon is heading to. And to that effect, I think that it's going to be challenging. Asking whether it's going to be a safe haven, I think it's something I cannot predict. But looking at the actions that government is taking in order to clamp down anyone who attempts to air his voice, I think it's going to be a challenging season.
Let us look at Barrister Akeremuna, a doctor who is a former presidential candidate. Do you think it is high time for us to put our hands on deck and have a retrospect on maybe whether asking ourselves whether or not we made a bad decision not choosing Barrister Akeremuna as president? I mean, we have seen him coming in all his wit and splendor of law and fighting in defense of the young man whom, quote and in quote, was unlawfully detained. You have been one of the people who have been talking about a swap in the regime, and we need somebody who can stand for democracy. You know, do you think we can see a glaring reflection of democracy through the hands or through the eyes or through the deeds of Barrister Akeremuna?
Yeah, we at this point, most of Cameroonians, if I not talk 80% or more, they are clamoring for regime change, and people want transition government. You know, one of the activists like Madam Akawalai have been even pushing that of transition government in this country, because they believe that the government had failed the peace people, and the government had bad faith when it comes to relating with the citizens. It's no doubt, because you can see youth. You see, look at the road that we find ourselves. No government official is taking responsibility to see how they can amend the road. This country is suffering. Go the whole way around where they say land of hospitality. See deaths everywhere. People are suffocated with death everywhere. The authorities, they don't even care. Those are people. The youth are worried. When they see all the things, you look, government infrastructure that are getting that decayed, no renovation. But you see here, use people in government taking, use of money and put in their pocket and coming to say that the work have been done. And when you look at all those things, you ask, where have we been to? If a single person can put 8,640 million in his personal house, become a bank, and when he was caught, nothing was done. And if he was locked in the prison, what was done with the money? So when the youths look at all this, they ask themselves, you and even get a small wine guy around Malingo or somewhere when you're on the whatsoever, that is a scammer. And then you see who the real scammers are. So you discover that the youth have come to discover that the real scammers are inside the government. The real scammers are inside the government. Ministers, directors, government generals who steal monies, and you go to foreign banks, they go and keep the money. They are stealing money in the house. There are of stories. You see millions of taken, taken inside the house of an individual in Cameroon. Yeah, we have heard stories in social media and so on and so forth. What are we doing to make sure? One time I said, in as much as we have crisis in Cameroon, what can quell the crisis, or what can make stability in the country, is youth employment. It's job creation. And if their money is coming, the youth are not employed, they're not getting good jobs for themselves, what do you want the youth to do? They will find a way to go to that place where you say that things are not moving, to see how things are not moving. And one of the things that you see is because this government have always regulated the youth behind in all the activities. They will talk why CPDM, and they have been using the youth to steal election on their behalf. They have been using the youth to manipulate election in their behalf. Maybe let me give you one example, and several example that you bear with me. Most often go to most of these youth days 20 May. You see how they reject in power. I'm not saying that something that I hear. I start and watch. You see people giving youth money to go and wear uniform and go and stand and from CPDM, whereas they know that they are not part of that party. What are you teaching those youth? What are you putting in their mind? The psyche of the people, some people in power, they have been contaminated, and they have what we call GPS. Government personality disorder syndrome. That's what they're facing. They don't know what to do with the youth. The youth are confused. And the youth we don't know what to do. And now that the internet space is there for everybody to maximize or to use, they're trying to raise their voice. And let me tell you, Mabel, if the government continue to crack down on youth, there'll be uproar in this country to come next year, 2025, and the government will not handle it. There'll be uproar, because what the government is afraid now is any street violence. The government is so sensitive now that if the people go on the street, the government will collapse. The government knows very well that if what happened, I think it's something what they would call VMO, where the whole country was on rampage on the street. If it happens now, the government will collapse. And let me tell you the truth, to show that the government you cannot be ruling, the government the phobia of the government is so strong that it rules them. They are so afraid in everything they do. The government is so afraid in everything. That's why you want to go anywhere, you will see them running on the street, breaking people, their citizens, and depriving them not to use their road that have used their taxpayer money to pay, and you put convoy of military to convoy a minister in his own country. It's a shame. It's a shame.
But for security
No, it's not for security reasons. Maybe let me tell you.
in a country plagued by
Let me tell you, we used to say that a guiltless conscience fear no evil. If you see people like Traore going to meet women in the houses, talking to people freely, you see the cars that are given for civil servants, Jeep, and then they are using just normal government, small Toyota as a president to go around to people. It shows confidence. No, my boy, see, it's the environmental psychology.
Is Guinea plagued by an armed conflict?
No, the armed conflict. You know that part of Guinea have been going with with this they call with this with this incident in the south. Even now they have the case of insurgent in there. But let me tell you, as a government, you have to be trust with time their citizen. When the citizen trusts you, they trust you, they believe in you. You don't even need too much security around you.
No, but you cannot say that for a country with a sporadic increase or exchange.
Let me tell you. Let me give you an example now. As you say, you disagree with me. 1982, you will see at the head of the state, Paul Biya, even when he went to Bamenda, he was getting people moving anyhow, talking with people. Look at the end of the political landscape of this country. Then you ask whether you agree or not.
Okay, what has changed?
Excuse me. Were they not the same country that because at that time people trust the regime in power? They trust themselves, but they have fooled the people with time, and now the people have lost trust, and they know. It's not like you fool a child that please, I will do this to you. I never do it. The day that the child says, "Papa, you are a liar," there's no way you can hide their face. So the citizens of this country are saying that the government have lied them too much. Okay. When we talk about, for example, let me just forgive you, maybe when you talk about the government talk about grand ambition. 30 years plan, 35 years in plan. What have they done here? There's 10 years left for we to clock 35 years. The whole town from Yaoundé is a garbage and sewage van environment. Sewage everywhere. Even you go to a road, I forgot that the day Carrefour, leading to the presidency. The government prefer to be military personnel to put there to guard people not to come and snap a bad road that the president himself used. It's a shame. Something that we have to cry out. It's not good. Let me give you an example. When you want to look at the youth, let us look at the developmental process in other countries that are not like Cameroon. For example, let me take case study Ivory Coast. If you look at Ivory Coast, 65% of Ivory Coast GDP or Ivory Coast, the GDP comes from cocoa, right? Now, if you look at that structure, then they use 25 conflict, which means it's more of farmer orientation program that the government receive money.
Back to what you were saying, Doctor.
You know what I'm saying now? Let me tell you, I'm coming. I want to drop. Now, if you look at Abidjan, if a youth in Cameroon go for a holiday or for just a picnic in Abidjan, who come to Cameroon and crying that if I can see a country like that, you see what happened?
There are also beautiful places in Cameroon.
Where? Show me one. Show me. I've been in Yaoundé. I can tell you a little part of Yaoundé.
The monument.
Look at what are we doing monument?
The monument is there. I mean,
maybe in this dispensation, a road that leads the capital, economic capital to the.
No, you have asked a question about the beautiful places.
That's what I'm saying. That day.
And we are enumerating
you cannot use just roads.
See, when we excuse
Okay.
my brother. In world structure, in development, even in the Western world, one of the things that they believe that before development comes, the first is road. There are priorities.
And Cameroon is working on that tirelessly.
And how many years? That's why they use some youth like you to proclaim their failure. To proclaim their failure and to massage them to remain on that chair. And that's what they use some youth of you, because we must say the things the way they are. We cannot say economic capital and a capital having a narrow road like Miondo that even two vehicles is difficult for them to pass. And even though we have accident on that road, Cameroon citizens are dying, and then you go and build a Cameroon
But is that a measuring rod for development? Is that a low measuring rod? Doctor, it's a question.
Yes, let me answer the question.
There is no country in Africa
Let me ask the
you go
question.
and you will not see poor.
Let me ask the question.
Doctor, is that just the measuring rod
we should not focus.
for development?
That is one of the windows to see the window
Okay, thank you. Over
the
to you,
windows.
Mr. Miracle.
Thank you.
I'll be coming back to you.
Yes.
Doctor made an analogy of 1971, where the
1982.
1982, where the president would walk walk and
People shake hands,
hands.
embrace people.
And what has changed today? Would you compare
People
that
voluntarily go to
time?
the airport to receive him. Nobody forced him. Nobody give him envelope to go there.
Now, what has changed between that time and this time where we are faced by an armed conflict? And doctor here is saying that he would rather that government personalities
Without
walk
security,
around freely
how
without
do you
security.
place that? You cannot compare to 1982 with 20.
Are there two dispensations or two eras?
These are totally two different eras. If you look, everybody has been shocked between 2016 till now. Everybody has been shocked that we'll have explosive. Who would have heard that Cameroon will be where it is today? We were not here 20 years ago. We were not here 15 years ago. The security, level of Cameroon has been deteriorated. And you cannot be comparing it to 1982.
And when there was an Android age.
And that is it. And in 1982, you wouldn't expect President Paul Biya not to do that. He just came to power. And every president who just comes to power will like to, consolidate, his presence by getting to closer to the population. He just came into power. He was not sure he was going to win the next election.
What happened today?
He was not sure, and he's still there.
What happened today?
He's still there, and the security atmosphere between now and 1982 is not. You cannot compare the two, and I cannot even advise a government official to risk moving without security forces.
We have heard government convoys which has been attacked.
Severally.
Heavily militarized.
Severally.
Attacked.
You
We have
cannot
heard
compare.
divisional
It's like
delegates,
day and night.
SDOs whose lives have been claimed.
We are not refusing that government convoy should not have security.
Okay, while I come to you, let me
We
look
are
at
talking about the
something.
relationship between
Dr.
the government
I'll be
and
back.
his people
Doctor, I'll
that
be
have
back
been
to you.
jeopardized by the corruption nature of the regime in power.
Doctor,
that
I'll
have
back to you.
that have been a long time between his people and the government. That's what we are talking about here.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Pope, while you are coming with a fire extinguisher to actually bring down the flaring tempers on the set, let me ask you, you were watching, or you have been watching and following vividly the video of this TikToker and the social media influencer and the self-proclaimed youth hero who has been freed from the hands of the SED. This is somebody who was advocating for youth to garner the courage to get registered with ELECA. And the same person is saying that we perish, we take to the streets, let's do everything we can to bring or to handicap the regime. Do you think that there is a paradox, or it comes with some mixed feelings? Proper advocacy and negative advocacy. Do you think how do we compromise that at a certain point?
Well, maybe thank you very much. I want to thank Barrister Keremuna for intervening and standing up to the task. Firstly. Secondly, that young man called on the youths to turn out massively for the change of this country, which some of us will say this, will use similar words only in our bedrooms. But I summon the courage to say it in the open. And that he stood for Cameroon. Why do I say so? He stood like a leader to all the opposition parties we don't have in this country. He called for the youth, irrespective of your opposition party. And that by the time he was even being detained, only one or probably two, him, the Barrister Keremuna and O.C. Joshua. I don't know if I should say all the other went to hiding. Now, the call he made, he said, we stand up. I will stand up for the election. That was the first thing he said. And going to say we perish, it means the election is the last verdict. And you may disagree with me, it's your opinion. He said election, this is the election, who is the final, that is the final judge, the final determination point to the 30-35 dream. It's either we'll give it a change or we perish as Cameroonians. And I believe very much that these are the cuts or the graphs that were plotted.
Let us look at where it could be a little bit confusing for most Cameroonians, because
Let me just take a second question.
while I
please.
give you the mic, I think let us clearly, make the viewers to understand. While he said that midway into it, he said that he understands that there is nothing they can do to bring out the regime, because the regime is known for rigging elections and all of that.
Good.
Now, if you are advocating for people to massively go and register and you are still spewing that, do you think it acts as a wet blanket at some point?
Yes, that's why we are here to analyze the files of the young man.
Okay.
Good. He said people should turn out for voters registration. That is to say that's to first of all tell you that he has not promised you or asked you to carry a gun or any weapon assault. He asked you to carry your voter registration. Secondly, we are in the cheetah age, where that call also stands that every young Cambodian should go by his phone, stand by the electoral count, have the data. I believe that that's what was done in Nigeria. And to say that if we perish, at the end of his statement, he said, if we perish, we perish. It means that if we don't follow Elekam strictly, that's what he said Eleka is known for rigging election. He said, if we don't follow Elekam strictly this time around, we perish, we perish. It means Elekam is that referee. Let me learn, moderator. Elekam is that referee that will determine the state, the transformed nature of this country at 2025. And I believe that with our Cameroonians are very clever, I must say this. I believe that having looked at the case before the judges, they have taken into some of this
They're taking cognizance
of the story, and that was why the young man was released. Because it will cost this government we are all criticizing day in, day out, it will cost them nothing to leave that young man there and say investigations are still going on. And that they gave that release is to show that we are a perfect democratic country.
Okay.
And that they still need to trust the government. Whoever government will be, we don't know. You may be advocating that the next government will be the best. I bet you it may be the worst. But always say the wind of change.
Okay, so is this you saying that we pamper the excesses of the government?
No,
Because
I
in the
haven't said
comfort
that.
or in the hope that the next regime may not be the best or maybe worse?
Maybe I live, I accommodate with any regime that is in power,
All
any
right.
government that's in power.
Okay, I would have loved to ask Doctor this question, but to you as a gentleman, I think it's going to be best placed, outside other countries and all of that. Do you define sense in what Barrister Keremuna said?
I think I must start by, applauding Leonard Senior, Barrister Keremuna, former president of the Cameroon Bar, for his efforts towards making this country better. I think I will agree with him because, Junior did not, as Leonard Friend said, advocate for a coup d'etat. He advocated for a peaceful election. And just to add to the fact that most young Cameroonians are very, very hesitant when it comes to participating in elections in this country. That is a fact that we all here will agree to. And so, Junior coming out to peacefully beckon on the youth to go to the polls and cast their vote is an initiative that should be applauded. As we can all agree that, of course, the rate at which young people are, migrating out of Cameroon, out of Africa generally, it's at its rise. And of course, Junior would have, rather than, taking the stance he has taken, which has landed him where we have seen, he rather decided not to use the Mediterranean. He rather decided not to go through Mexico and go to America, where he will just be there. I think Junior is one of those people. It is true, he's a young man. There were some excesses. He has genuine love for Cameroon.
Is that patriotism in any form?
I think if you read Junior, it is true. We saw some excesses in the video, but genuinely, you will see that he is somebody who wants a better Cameroon. He wants a better Cameroon. He's just a young man. He needs to be coordinated. He needs to be mentored, and he will be the best version of himself. And I think till tomorrow, I will appreciate him for being that bold. How many young Cameroonians will, there are so many young Cameroonians with TikTok accounts. What are they doing with their accounts, Mabel? But a gentleman was able to rise up and call on the youth.
For a positive crusade.
For a positive crusade, a peaceful one. And I think I'll join my voice with the voice of Leonard Senior, Barrister Akere, to say that Junior should be applauded.
To my moderator, to add to what Miracle had just said, we look at Junior. If you read his story very well, it tells a young man who just had his advanced level. He works in the barbering salon in Douala, and he still has the interest of Cameroon at heart. Maybe to bet you, he will have been one of those who feels that America is a better heaven, but that he still believes in the energy of in the beauty of his country, and still believes in him. Probably he also was having a fright that what if I so much put passion in my country, which of course we know is Africa in miniature, and then 2025 fails me, where will I be? So that is why you see, like he said, he made some excesses, and as young Cameroonians, all of us, he's still very young, 23, some of us are already 35, some of us are already 40. So it is time that we come out, register massively. When you go by the results of ELECAM, they only tell you that the turnout of voters registration this year is alarming, which means his call also will push the amount to a certain, above
3 million.
Yes. So, as he said, we have to caution the young man, and we have to also turn up, line up to his call that we, the youths, let us be carried away by alcohol, excess enjoyment. Let us know that this is the decisive moment in our country. If you fail to take part in the voting process that will decide our next 7 years, then guarantee you'll be drinking beer in the next 7 years. So, but let us change Cameroon, make it an industrial zone that has been promised, make it that digital zone that has been promised, make it that commercial zone. There's a lot of suffering in Cameroon. There is a lot. 2025 is the time to stand up and to be participants of the change through the electoral process.
Thank you so much. And of course, that is from Pope Bertrand. We see what some of you have been saying. Of course, just like you know, the viewers have a special role to play as far as greasing the program is concerned. So I think it is about time that we scroll a little bit onto social media and see what some of your reactions have got to say. Ndonwi George says the entire justice system is corrupt, to say the least. B. Rodriguez says it's time to put this government down. Enough is enough. We need massive whatever. That is too sensitive for the moderator to spew. Thank you. Petra Obengwe says great work. I pray others get this privilege too. You know what it used to say, a doctor, that when it's your time, even a banana can make you die. Yeah. You can swallow maybe egg shells, or blades. But when it's your time, even a banana can make you to just suffocate. It's an opportunity for him to live again. Okay, Eugene Tido says, I will advise he leaves this country. Not just advise so. All right, thank you so much, Eugene Tido. This one says, Lawrence Pesci, in this country we all have freedom of speech, but your freedom of speech will be determined by what you use your freedom of speech to say. You know. Other lawyers should join in the fight to liberate thousands of Cameroonians in there. Okay, but in there, maybe they're talking about the SED.
Maximum security prison.
And that thing is standing up as one man to say no to dictatorship, armchair politics, worst living conditions, embezzlement, corruptions, electoral fraud, nepotism, and 42 years of bad governance. Mabel, this is a good program, and my regards to Mr. Miracle. Thank you very much. He will hear. Mabel, Cameroonians can't do anything as far as this country is concerned, so forget it. This is from Neo Bertrantino. All right, my panelists are jotting and taking interest in all of these comments, and whichsoever has caught your attention, you're going to be reacting to it. Good job to Barrister Akere Muna. We need brave lawyers like you to put things into order. Let's put our hands together, Mabel, in prayers for Cameroon. We need to sit up for this country to be liberated from evil manipulations and bloodshed. These grandpas that are ruling this country are up to something. And this is from Karim Binla. All right, Karim Binla, whatever that means. I appreciate this move, but remember, more Anglophones are in that same jail for political gains. Do something. Maitre Akere Muna from Going Solo. I'm writing from the United States of America. Thank you. All the way from the USA, and I hope you're doing well this afternoon. Congratulations, though not enough. There are many more. A man of his caliber has a lot to play as far as unlawful detention is concerned in Cameroon. Is this us acting as a Oliver Twist? I mean, as an esquire on the way, yes. Is this us acting quite ungrateful? Because there are people saying that a man of his caliber, there are a lot more in there. I mean, why can't we appreciate the moves that he has done, at least for starters?
Yeah, I think it's a right move towards the right direction. I think it's not a wrong thing to ask for more. Okay. It's not a wrong thing to ask for more, and I think it has to begin by appreciating the effort. I was very touched. The images. I don't know how you felt about them, but the images are so emotional. Seeing Barrister Akere Muna moving side by side, Junior, and then they are conversing, they were so emotional. That tells that the profession of a lawyer is not just a profession, to swell your bank account, but to ensure that the very interest of the vulnerable and the voiceless in the society are heard.
Because
and that
they want to ask, Junior does not have the financial
caliber. Can he hire a legal colossus of that magnitude? Who can hire Barrister Akere Muna? Is an international legal juggernaut. So it's just to tell us of the kind of person that Barrister Akere is. He's out to see that the voice of the voiceless are heard, that the rights of the very vulnerable who cannot even afford the cost of justice in this country are heard. So I must applaud him, and I think, as others are saying, like Oliver Twist, more needs to be done.
More needs to be done. Doctor, there have been quite a handful of comments. Which one actually got your attention?
Normally, you look at the youth, one of the youth talk about the regime in power, is well known of, electoral malpractice, fraud, nepotism, or whatnot. It's not a news. It's normal. It's a lifestyle to the regime in power, and most of the youth have been fooled that we have democracy. We are not have no democracy in Cameroon. We are still far from democracy. Cameroon is still on the level of a dictatorship, and we must have to admit that we are under dictatorial rules, and we have no democracy in Cameroon. And that's why you can see for yourself how many presidents have gone through America and other states around that have democracy around the world, but we are still here talking that our grandpa will still remain on place and remain a president for life. It's madness. We have to come and and show that democracy, not just by talking, but giving people the opportunity who have the heart in this country. Patriotism is not you stealing money from the account from the country. Patriotism is not you just saying that you are serving the country. Patriotism goes beyond that. Junior is one of those patriotic Cameroonians who love their country, who want things to work. Because Junior have seen or have, is one of those people who have sat and witnessed the collapse of the nation and feel that it's a time he act like a catalyst. You know, removing Junior from prison is not about even about the law, because the law system already failed. It's about, you know, the phobia that the government already had, that if we continue to leave Junior there, we already, the international eyebrow and the youth are already putting clamor on him. It will cause a uproar.
So are you saying that the government bowed at the? So are you saying that government bowed to pressure?
Yes, the government bowed to pressure. Look at when you talk about it. Excuse me.
No, in this case.
Wait, let me explain. We have to explain certain things. In countries where it talks about internal security, there are things that you don't hold on it because you are a government. You look at the right of the people. But let me tell you, in Africa, many presidents have resigned just because they youth on street. That is patriotism. They bow under pressure. Youth have put pressure. Political party have gone on street and the government resigned. President resigned. Don't have pressure. Excuse me, let us come. Because if you are talking about it, like Cameroon is so superior in such a way that the population, or he's doing what is too right, that the population cannot react on what they are doing. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And if it's wrong, you must get pressure. And what type of pressure? You must bow to pressure. Because government have bowed to pressure. Biden have had pressure. Excuse me, Biden have bowed to pressure from his party that he should resign. And resign. So when we talk about government, we talk about people with integrity. If you have an integrity as a leader, you have to bow sometimes to pressure because you have not done enough for the people. And they are clamoring that you have not done enough. And it's time for you to stay out, to bow out.
But going back to this case, Doctor, would you say that government in this case bowed to pressure?
If you look at psychology and prediction, the government have sat and looked at it, and they realized that Junior have come to open the heart and the mind, of the young guys.
On bail.
People, excuse me, let me speak. His voice or his message have opened the brain or the intelligence of sleeping youths who are sleeping. Although
that does not answer the question.
Excuse me now, let me calm down. I'm just telling you. Now, he have opened the mind of those youth, and the government have realized that this person have got all like that, and these youth are clamoring. If we put this guy behind bars, it's preferable we use any method to put him out. Because if he's there, it will cause more people to.
It was not the government that released.
No, I'm not saying that the government. Who put him there?
It's not the government.
Who put him behind there?
Okay,
I put him there. He spoke about the government, and I spoke about the government. He spoke about the government. So when you talk about it's not the government, who put him there?
Let me get to another side.
Is it a private person that put him there? Is it even the military put you as a government?
Yeah, it's a government.
Even the military arrest you because you spoke something to the government. It's a government. So what do you see?
He was released by an order of the court, sir.
Who put him there? Before he was released, who put him there?
It was not an order from the government that said Junior should be released. The court.
Who put him? Wait, excuse me, sir. No, who put him there? Who put Junior in the?
My focus is who released him. You are talking about the government releasing him. The government did not release Junior.
Okay, now,
but if the government did not release Junior, government military people put him there.
Can I
then
ask you something?
That is contrary to the law of the country, and they have put them pressure to remove that guy because they see what is coming ahead of them.
Okay, doctor, you have stated very clearly. Doctor is saying that for elements of law and order to have remanded the guy, it means government, categorically, government remanded the guy, but the court released him. You will not say government freed him, or would you say? Okay, now give us the legal stance as far as that is concerned.
It's because if we are looking at incitement and propaganda, it's a crime punishable under Section 113 of the Penal Code. Incitement and propaganda. But the question is, did Junior, looking at the definition of incitement and propaganda, did Junior commit the crime of incitement and propaganda? Because for a crime to be said to have been committed, we must have what we call in law the mens rea and the actus reus, which is the intention and the actual act leading to the commission of the offense. Now the question is,
does it corroborate? Yes.
Did Junior have the intention? Was there a mens rea to incite or cause propaganda? And here we had settled that when we were discussing, and we made mention of the fact that yes, he was well intentioned, but he only went overboard. So the court cannot hold somebody. Section 17 of the Penal Code is clear. Nullum crimen sine lege, nulla poena sine lege. There cannot be a punishment without a law, and there can be no crime without a law. So the court cannot be keeping Junior when He has not been held liable for
Okay,
an
now I
offense
think Dr. may
that
want
has
to
been
ask
defined.
that. I think if I were doctor,
By
I'd
the
ask,
law.
but now I'm the moderator. Let me just go head on by asking that if the court actually liberates Junior and the government says keep him there, is the court going to act under his own accord?
Well, that goes back to to talking about the independence of the judiciary in
Okay,
this country.
now which means it suffices to say that the government freed Junior because the court cannot act independent.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Independent from the
We
government.
don't have private court in Cameroon.
No, let him answer. I think this is a little bit very complex.
It's complex. And when I spoke about the independence of the judiciary, I did not say that in every case the judiciary is being influenced by the government. No.
No, we are not saying so.
That's
in
what we are
Okay, in
saying.
this case,
We are
yes.
I'm not saying in every case. In this case, because
And I am not agreeing to the fact that in this case it was a call that came from the presidency that led to the release of Junior.
It was not come from the presidency. You know that there are armed in Cameroon that
I know, yeah, I just
they
used the
are
presidency
and they
in
see
court.
they try to
In court.
expert
In
that
court.
they every
In
message you
court.
can remember that even in media there's the association that is focusing on what the media is saying and whatsoever. So you will not expect the president to give a call. They already know what to do. It's their rule.
Government could be.
They say the special police are there. They have
Procurator General.
yeah, so they will tell you that do this.
Can make a call, but I am insisting on the fact that the court sat.
Okay, now did the court act independent in this case?
I think yes, the court acted independently. He has been released on
Yes,
bail,
on bail.
and
On bail.
Barrister Akere Muna made it clear
What
that
does it
he-
mean to be released on bail in this case?
It means you are granted temporary freedom
Yes.
at every moment. Even if tomorrow the military tribunal says, or they say they need Junior, he will need to be present.
And what if Junior is not present?
A warrant will be signed for him to be brought. That's the essence of bail. It does not mean he has been freed. He's not a free. He still has a case against him. Investigations are still going. That's the reason for bail. Okay, we arrested this guy based on these allegations.
But now, no allegation has been meted on him yet.
That is why we say investigations are still going on.
Yes.
That is why in criminal law section it is clear. Everybody is first of all a suspect. From a suspect, he becomes a defendant before he becomes an accused person. So you must graduate. If you are still a suspect, you are still the case is still under the auspices of the judicial police officer and the state council. And when the judicial police officers, together with the help of the state council, do their investigation and realizes that there is a likelihood of the facts holding this person liable for an offense, they will prepare what is called a holding charge, and they will submit to the examining magistrate to carry out what we call a preliminary inquiry. And when this person is transferred to the office of the examining magistrate, that is where he graduates from a suspect to a defendant. At this level, he is still presumed innocent until proved guilty. So it is a whole chain.
Now, what is the categorically? You've said lots of things which make sense, but I want us to hang on for the sake of the viewers. Now, what is the legal dimension of this case? He has been released on bail, which means he is not free.
He is not free. He's not free. At
They
any
may
time.
press charges on him or not. If they press charges and he doesn't hold, he will be granted freedom.
That's it. That's it.
As
That's
of
why.
now, he has been freed on bail, which means that he still has court session to attend until he declares himself or defend himself totally free. The case can still come up
At any time. That is why
and he
investigations
can
are
still
going
be
on.
convicted in the days ahead.
Of course, if the outcome of the investigations prove that Junior violated section 113 of the penal code, then he'll be called up to answer. Of course,
Okay, called up by who? By the state?
yes, the state council
By the court,
in charge.
the
Yes,
court. This case now is the court.
It's in the court, not
He
the
has been-
government.
he has been-
It's not the
He has
government.
been handed to the court, and the court has been the mediator that to say that.
Okay, now-
When you say the court, if you go to look to those cases in court, you hear the people of Cameroon versus so and so and so and so.
So in this case, is that going to
when
be
you
like
talk
that?
about the court,
Yes.
I don't feel that
It's
nobody
against
is a
the
crime.
court of
Excuse
Cameroon.
me.
It's
So you should say that the people of Cameroon, not because you say the court is like somebody goes and
the state council,
eh,
the state council is sitting for is council for the state.
that's what we're saying.
That's why they are
The
standing
people
for the
of-
people of Cameroon.
I'll need you to bring in the legal complexions
Yes.
because even as a journalist, legal issues and terminologies are very complex and very sensitive.
Very, very.
Now, if he is brought back to court
Yes.
in the days ahead, the files are revoked and all of it, or reawoken,
Yes.
is it going to be the people of Cameroon against Junior?
Gombe, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is a criminal case. It's of course all criminal cases. It's the state of Cameroon that are prosecuting. The state of Cameroon is the prosecuting council.
Okay.
Yes, if it's a case of rape, a case of murder,
Okay.
it's the people of Cameroon against XYZ.
Okay.
Yes, so it's the people of Cameroon against Junior Gombe. If, of course, the results of the investigations prove that, there's a likelihood there's a likelihood that he committed the offense of incitement or propaganda as sanctioned by Section 113 of the Penal Code. His appellation will change, and he will have to answer before.
Let me
Alright, I think that's
add
suffices.
something, moderator. That's to say that the crime that Junior is committing is not against an individual. That's why it goes now to general, that it's against the form of the state, against the Cameroonian people. Okay, I took interest in what Lawrence said, that Junior to flee the country. At times when I hear people advising or even thinking of leaving Cameroon, going as a young man, a junior of 23 years, if you ask him to leave Cameroon, by the time I guess leave out, he's coming back in his 60s. That means another country has benefited in his energy. He must have contributed in one way or the other of developing another man's well. But I believe that the youth have to stay back in this land, in this country, so that we develop the country and give it a better face for our children and for other foreigners to gain the interest and the likes to come to Cameroon. Just like Doctor was saying, condemning Cameroon in all its odds. You don't do like that. Honestly, you have to first of all appreciate what you have. We have this country. Yes, over time we have been voting the bad leaders into governance. The year is another election approaching. It is time for us to right the wrongs. And I beg Cameroonians, I beg all of you that it is time to stand up. Make sure you have your voter's card by you as well.
And talking about Cameroonians, urging young Cameroonians not to leave, what do we have? Is there any promising future for them here?
Why would they not leave? Why would they not leave? When we have a country that is sick, you have a government that does not care about the youth. Why do they not leave? Other countries, it's even shameful to see that some country out there, they are using Cameroonians to better. Go to France, you see more Cameroonians playing the French team, playing other teams around. Why can't you see Cameroon? Because the corruption nature of a country that the government himself is promoting. It's very easy. Let me talk. Excuse me.
I disagree with that.
Excuse me. Let me land my point. Excuse me.
If you should go by that,
no, excuse me.
I disagree.
Let me talk. Let me land. I don't talk to you, gentlemen. Let me talk. It's easy for us to put laws when it comes to young people and innocent people like Cameroon. But look about those in Parliament. At 66, what you have to give
declare access.
Declare access. How many of them have they declared access? Who many of the law have they hold them in order in that content? If you want to say about
that you should leave this country,
listen.
I disagree.
Some of them are leaving the country because everybody wants green pasture, everyone a better life.
I don't think
there are opportunities.
The opportunities in Cameroon are limited, baby.
No.
How many of them want to? You are saying no. Let's look at it. You are talking about Ramboya here. Just not the crisis have hit the Cameroon. If you have traveled, go to some of these villages that they were hit. They were like this Bakalangi that they were moving strong. Go and look at them. They saw a shadow of themselves. Now everybody have sent that in here. Go and the street, see little children. Look how children we're doing. I just learned from I came from Nigeria. Go and see what's happening there. It's on state. We want to compare some things before you talk, like how my brother was saying that. Are we sure that the next person will be worse than this? You cannot qualify somebody to be better or worse when you're not putting the person on test. Put the person on test. Put the government on test. That's the same thing that I'm angry with young youths. They are always practicing that the next government will be so bad than this one. Let's put the next government and put them and let's change things. I even move the CPDM. We move from CNU to CPDM. Let's move from CPDM and to another party. We'll see we can not to judge. Because so this information will make like that. So you will feel that okay. And that's why the CPDM is succeeding using youth as their own propaganda machine or one way to make other youth to feel that they should not look at the negative energy or the negative that they are doing. They should focus on some of the things they have done. No. Let me see.
And which is fair,
Wait,
life, and which is fair.
Maybe it's not fair because if you look at the development structure of Africa, Africa is one of the emerging nations in the continent in the world, right? And other nations, Ghana, other nations are proving it right. Niger and Burkina Faso are proving it right. We have to charge our government and put them to tax to do it right. We don't need to sit and see a major road leading our economic capital to the capital, be in that our state. And you can come and say that it is fair when Cameroonians are dying in the highway in daily basis. No, we are not fair. Go and look at my 16 road today. Cars are jam-blocking, cars are getting bad in the road that people pay tax money, taxpayers, they pay the money taxes to government. And you go to toll gate, they're collecting money. What did you do this morning, my friend? They're stealing it and putting it for them. And when you come and see and say, oh, they are trying, they are doing their best. We don't need to support them because tomorrow they'll do better. It's madness.
That's a hasty
generalization. It's America, it's France, it's Europe. They did not charge the government and put it in that way. We could have gone there. So we have to do it now because today we can see in Africa countries that brought youth in the power and how they're enjoying what we call good governance. So the youth in Cameroon, they also want good governance. They also want to see good roads. They also want to run cars in good roads. They want to see good infrastructure around the town. They want to see a good. See, they say the Ministry of Town Plan. What are they doing? Breaking Cameroonian houses day in, day out, and stealing money from council level.
Okay, now
and we are saying that you have Ministry of Town Planning doing what?
Doctor, you have been one of those people calling on young Cameroonians to be patriotic.
Yeah.
Now asking them to be a national exodus. Don't you think that is smashing your words?
Maybe I'm saying that they are not doing X. They are not going out because they like it. Let me tell you, go and do survey. Most of the Cameroonians that are going out, they don't like what they are doing. They don't even like to meet. They don't like even to go where they are going. You got the point I'm saying now? I have opportunity to go to Europe. I have opportunity to go to UK. I have everything. My junior sister now I'm talking about, the one that follow me directly, is American citizen. He went to America within 4 months, have his yellow card, a red green card in America. He's American citizen. Why? It's a frustration. Youth are going out. We're not encouraging, but we are saying that if the government do not do something, they don't have other option, maybe. They don't have any option because government will pack the money in their banks, pack it in foreign banks. They will not help those youth.
We should give them options.
No of the government officer. Have you seen them like the one you saw in Ghana, helping youth with financial, support, empower them financially to do something better? The chaps and the small crumbs that they bring around quarter and fool you to go around and say they want to be people by playing football and people are going to those clubs and they're happy about that. So I'm talking about somebody who embezzled 8,600 and something milliard in a single government official. And today we are wrapping our hands and telling youth, don't go anywhere. Where are they keeping that money? In Europe. Let the youth go to Europe and bring that money to us. What are you saying here? Let them go and bring the money back to us. Since they decided to take our money and go and be France. Look, one journalist in CNN made a statement that if every African country would stay away or would separate himself from France, France would be like any African country. It's true. And if the money, our own people have decided to put their money there, let the youth go there and take the money and bring that if they cannot use it to develop our own country.
Mr. Miracle, you have quite a lot to say.
Yes, I think Doctor is being making a lot of generalizations. I think the solution, I am a youth. I'm happy I'm talking as a youth. And I don't think that we should always put all the blame on the government. It is true the government has not done the best. It is true, and I want to make it clear that till tomorrow, the government will never meet all the expectation of the public.
Regardless of the regime which comes.
Regardless, even if it's somebody who is just imported, who does not have Cameroonian blood, I want you to know that people will still be disgruntled. All the problems of Cameroonians will never be solved. So asking youth to migrate out of this country is never going to solve the problem. It is true Cameroon is hard. It is true things are difficult. But we can still see young people are making it big in Cameroon. There are young entrepreneurs who are, it is true, through the hurdles. They are going an extra mile, they are pushing, and they are also making millions. There are guys, and the truth about it is that when you actually make money through the genuine way, there's this satisfaction. Even if somebody has 10 billion in his account who is stolen, that person does not sleep. That person does not sleep. Okay. But if a youth who engages in entrepreneurship and believes that he can make it in Cameroon and does what is necessary and Half even is 20 million. That youth, I think, is richer than somebody who stole 20 billion.
That is talking about integrity, Doctor. Doctor, I'm coming back to you. I know that there's a lot bubbling in your chest, but what would you say to those advocating? I have a lot of messages in my phone asking and advising that the panelists here, you people, ask Junior Ngumbe to leave your country.
And we should ask, coming over your question, we should ask Junior Ngumbe
The
to leave.
23-year-old to leave the country
That's right.
for safety.
No. Look, see, they say a clear conscience fears no accusation. And we have analyzed on this platform and similar platforms that he stood for something genuine. Probably he oversteps his bounds. And you running away out of Cameroon when you have been released on bail, it tells you that you are not a patriotic Cameroonian. Because we are not saying that he does not have the largesse to ever leave Cameroon, but let him follow his court procedure until he is granted permanent bail. He's discharged, his case is discharged and acquitted, then he can choose to leave. Then I go back now to say that I believe in the energy of that young man. And if any political leader who has foresighted should look at him, you should know that's a young man that you can hold his hand as a godfather to lead him into the political arena, because he also has love and passion and believes in the growth process of this country.
Okay, talking about love and passion, Carol Brown says, please ask Doctor on the panel why only him. They are advocating for his release. The guy who was caught in Gabon and deported back to Cameroon needs to be released, and many others too. Is this a place where we say we don't tell the government what to do? You were talking about
at one point, when the government is responsible, people cannot advocate more to tell the government what to do. But when the government is irresponsible in one form or the other, it brings the people to come in, to advocate, for them to see, because, sometimes they are blind because of their codependency and the narcissist mindset, all settled around them. And when that happens, you see a lot of people would like to tell the government this is the right thing to do, and this is the way you're supposed to do it, and this is the best way that we think that you can do it. Because if you look at the structure of Cameroon today, I don't think that the government have put a lot of a good or enough security around the youth that it can guarantee those youth to feel that, to look at the mirror and say that we are striving to the better Cameroon. What makes the youth, to feel, so safe and in the environment around them is the policies and the laws. He is talking about, there are jobs, there are doing one. In the private sector in Cameroon, you know how the private sector operates in Cameroon. So sometimes the laws and the policies is the support policy that makes the youth to either to do being self-employed and what it can do, but go to them maybe and try to do a small business here. The next time you see taxation is coming, and they're not just coming there, a high tax is given to you, and sometimes the condition that they put in place, it even just discourage you to do business in your own country. Those are some things that we are talking about. Because I have many of some young youths that come from Germany, so I come from to do business here in Cameroon. The type of taxes that they are putting, that they are giving them, they just say, okay, preferable if my own country cannot allow me to do business. So if they have money, then they have chunk of money that they don't want to do the money in Europe, but they want to go and invest in their own country. Let me give you just a small example. Look at Sadio Mane. The young Senegalese. So you know what he's doing with his money? He's investing back in his home, building hospital. Go to Cameroon. See, let me give you one example. In all of our own country, Cameroon. If you look at the Carrefour music in Douala, there's a supermarket opposite there. When that bill was too bad, that guy at the supermarket just said, okay, let me just put seaward so that at least vehicles should not, come and be making here, and the road is too bad. Do you know how much a man pays in Cameroon government? They charge him to pay. They say that, who are you to come and put seaward in the state's road? And the very state cannot fix the road even up to today. So what are we saying?
No, but we all know that nobody is responsible. Let
me tell you. We go to
Cameroonian, you don't fix the road or repair
okay. Let me push now. Let me push you to another country like Nigeria, where you have the right to do whatever you want to do. Excuse me now, oh boy, let me lie down. With the accomplishment with the government, and if somebody can say, okay, I want to make this road, I put my name. You say, come and say, okay, this is the size of the road, and this is the section of the road, because this is what is planned for the future. Do you ask, can you do it? He say, yes, I can do it. Say, go ahead to do it. There are many Cameroonians that can want to do that, but the government is blocking. Let me tell you, this country is controlled more of spiritual than physical. If you don't know it today. And that is why the court. No, let me tell you.
I believe the physical.
Excuse me now. I'm talking about my own evaluation.
Doctor is a pastor.
I'm talking about my own evaluation. I'm not putting much on you, or I'm not. I'm talking about I've evaluated. I've seen. It's more of spiritual. And let me tell you, like you believe me or not.
But is it even fair or sane to come on a debate panel and when we are talking feasible politics?
No, let me tell you now. And one of the quotes. I try to open some things so that people who are praying for Cameroon should know how to pray. Those who are intervening for Cameroon should know what to do. Because let me tell you the truth. The one of the quote in that spiritual realm is to leave this country poor, miserable, so that everybody can come and beg like a child, like a slave, before his master, before anything is given to you. We can see what happened in Ghana when one politician took rice and other thing and went to the youth and said, "Want to come and give rice?" They said, "We don't need it. We need employment. We don't need rice." But today, the government itself still in place is using taxpayer money as a way to bribe the youth to vote for them. It's madness. We need to come up from there. That's why one time in this very platform, I think it was this platform, I advised the politician and all those political parties like Cameroon, if they have business, if they mean business in this Cameroon, they have just two policies. One, to gather the energy both in diaspora and in the country to fight Elecam. Until Elecam is an independent institution where they understand and they believe in it and they trust it, and the person heading Elecam is working in that office on an oath. That each day they realize that election is fraud, is treason against the nation. Because let me tell you the truth, we still have to be realistic. That's why I'm not coming back to Junior. Because that's why Junior is crying. Because
Doctor, that is off tangent. You cannot say that on this very honourable.
No, what I'm saying so
because it's not feasible. It's not practical.
No,
it's not feasible.
Excuse me. I'm giving my own suggestion. I'm giving my own suggestion to the government to help the people.
Let us hear what somebody is talking about.
If Elecam can be independent, and the people who are running Elecam, they rule from their conscience. We know how other crises we're having, political crises we're having in Cameroon.
All right, this one says, isn't it ironical that we call this country democratic one? People suffer and some even die for freeing their minds. Please, Madam the Moderator, allow doctor to talk. We need about 6 doctors in this country and everything is going to change. This one says, can I have doctor's number? This man need a fair face. I like his guts. Okay, with his permission, I'll look into that. This one says, good news, doctor, and good evening. Whatever that one means. This one says, the power of social media. Thank you all. Barrister Miracle, not barrister here.
Not yet.
Does it suffice?
I can be sued for usurpation.
Oh, okay, not barrister here. This one says that was Indop's law that you quoted. I've understood many things, and especially that it was released on bail, meaning the charges may still hold. Thank you, Mr. Miracle is his name, Mr. Miracle. Thank you, and a lot more that we are receiving here in the studio. Does everything that has happened, does it put our democracy to test or to question? Mr. Miracle, then we'll come to you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. I think yes. It has brought some questions marks to our democracy, because in a democratic society there are tenets, there are principles that should be upheld and valued at all costs. But when you see people who want to, get through and achieve their own interests, they will manipulate. They'll manipulate democratic principles in order to achieve their own agendas. And if we say we are democratic, and it is not only on paper, then we must allow all the principles, all the tenets of democracy to hold sway. Freedom of expression is one of them. Freedom of association is one of them. Freedom of opinion is one of them. The right to vote is one of them. These are individualistic rights that must be allowed without any strings attached to them. And when state officials start, clamping down individuals because of their opinions, because they want to express themselves in regard to particular issues which they feel are not going the way they were supposed to go, then I think there is a twist in democracy,
Okay.
which is not what it's supposed to be.
Thank you. Pope?
Well, he said it all. The one I would just like to note that you see, democracy has some spice angles that must take. Democracy is a government and a notion that have replacement. In democracy, you have to know that you are just a guide to whatever institution you're holding. You are a trustee to an institution that you are holding. You have to be there to know that when the time comes, you have to leave. A democracy simply states you as the government for the people, by the people, with the people. Opinion counts, like I said. Replacement counts, as I said. You should know that the younger generation is by force to succeed the present generation. And that is where democracy gets its freedom. But now, one other thing is, when the white man was leaving Africa out of frustration because it was not their will, they decided to bring us democracy. We were not ready of managing the context of what democracy actually looked like. Democracy was like replacing their dominance over Africans with a newly word known as democracy. I think that if you say somebody has gained independence, it means that you have nurtured the person to such a way you believe in the person's maturity. Then you so by granting the person his freedom, let the person adopt his own principles and governance that can manage him and his institution. So some of us were forced, democracy was forced onto us, some of us accepted it willingly. But I must say that we have not understood what democracy is like. If you look at a country like America, where democracy is being practiced, you see in the fullest, you see the president lashing word on his opposition party. They call them, that means they believe as their liberation standard, when institutions fail to govern the people, it is the right of the people to stand up and question the institution. You see they bring two candidates for the presidential election and ask them questions. That why do you feel that in your own government, if we give you this country, you'll be better than this man? And they say it. They say it directly to the audience, say it directly to the population. Yeah, let me just use, SDF will come to Buea today, make his own, after 5 days, goes away, UPC come with his own. You cannot question them to put them like this, even on a state TV. Have a whole day session with them. Even if it happens that calls have to come from Southwest, 20 calls have to come from Northwest, 20 calls, from the center, 20 calls. Let them have a whole 1 week or a whole 3 days of such a meeting, so that we talk to them directly and know what they have in package and how we'll align behind them for the context of democracy.
Thank you. I'm going to use that as your final words for today. That was quite a very heavy conclusion. Mr. Miracle, what should be your final word as you beat the viewers who have been rooting for you from the time that you started speaking right up until now, those who differed with you a little bit, and those who thought they came with pens and papers, and they're leaving this program tonight with a mind reformed on how you tackled the law and the angles and the dimensions.
Thank you very much. It was a very, very heavy program. And I want to say that there is hope for tomorrow. Unlike before, where the youths were very, very hesitant, they were completely quiet about the political landscape of this country. Today we are talking about Junior Ngombe, who is a 23-year-old who came out to advocate, to call on the youth to massively turn out for the 2025 elections. I think I'm joining my voice with the voice of Junior to say that it is time for change, and that change can only come through the ballot box. Thank you.
And that change can only come through the ballot box. Before we respect seniority, what other thing would you have to add?
Madam Mabe, please let me use a platform to caution our youths, especially on things I've seen in Buea. Please, audience, please, listeners, I've observed the way youth crisscross the road these days. So stop it. Look, in the driving school, they tell you that the driver is a foolish man because you don't know his state. Probably he has a problem from home, he's under the influence of alcohol, and other things may be running in his head. So you just throw him into the road, you have to take precaution of your own life. These days, the way people cross the road, I really said it is important that we stage up a campaign to caution people on how to cross the road. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pope Bertrand. And going by seniority, you are going to dress this beautiful cake by putting all the icings on the cake, Doctor.
I just want to say, in Cameroon, we say we have democracy, but sometimes I would say it's democracy or black man colonization. Yes, it's black man colonization, black man slavery, because you see how your own brothers, your own sisters, your own people, your own country, they are suppressing you, they are doing everything to make sure that you don't enjoy your country. Maybe I was so flabbergasted when I went to Nigeria, I went to Equatorial Guinea. I enjoyed the country around. No police harassing me. What inform? When I come to my own country, you see police everywhere. Come down, stand on duty. I said, where is that? Where is that? How can youth, emerge in such an environment? And sometimes you want to question, you find that this one is the chief commander, this one is the chief of army, this one is the governor that have it, this one is the SDO. What are manners? Those are people who are supposed to start as a symbol of democracy, and they were supposed to be a model for the youth to start a record, say, okay, I like to be like Governor Okala Belai. I like to be like him. I like his rule.
But what's stopping the youth from being
I'm
like
not
them?
saying that they are not saying so. I'm just saying that that's what we want to see in the society. Popularly seeing people, youth, working hard and saying, I want to be like this, I want to be like this. But today, youth are claiming, I want to bring a change. I want no one to be like this person, I want to work like this. We want a democracy whereby our governors, our SDO, they are being voted by the people, not appointed from Yaoundé. Because when they are appointed, and that is a scam, that they put the youth that you are rich of tomorrow, and we are practicing democracy. With true democracy, every region, if development has to follow suit, we want all the governors to be voted by the people. The SDO who are talking about, if the structure has to be still remain in place, they have to be voted by the people. So that behavior, the psychological structure of working should change. They should know that they are there for the people, because anybody who is being, voted in the office is a steward. It's not a boss. So they act like bosses, they don't act like stewards. And if we have more of stewardship in our civil service structure, we'll have a better Cameroon.
Thank you so much. And talking about Better Cameroon, this program has been put together by good and patriotic Cameroonians. We had somebody who stood behind the keyboard, making sure that the image quality and the sound quality were top-notch. Thankful Clothing, doffing our hats to you. And of course, we had supervision from the Editor-in-Chief, Alice Ikomilikier, and general supervision from Eno Humphrey Ayok. See you next time. Until we meet again, good night. And I've been your host, Mabel Camden. Thanking you all for watching.